And I'm just going to be finishing up some little stuff around the property, waiting on a messenger notification for a guy who's going to give me potentially 33 pavers that are 15 by 15 for $1 each right down the road. So I'm pretty excited about that. With all this shit I got around the property, I don't know what to do with it, man. My gazebo finally, the green one that they had broken before, finally, I tried to, the way that it was before, it looked like someone just came in and ripped it. So after that, uh, it's not been holding up great. So I've been having to like continuously readjust it, and now I don't really go on the roof to fix the water anymore. So sometimes during storms it pools up. It was a perfect system before. What can you do, man? So that's all going anyway. Let me show you. It was like put against the door, and finally I was like, fuck it, and I just kicked the door open, and then it broke. And I don't care. It was only $40. It was nice. I have my cross behind that gazebo holding up the other one. But it's now perfect weather. So of course it stops loading. So undeserving of witnessing my content watch, so the algorithm had to boot him out real quick. I guess. That's the only thing that makes sense why it just starts reconnecting. Uh, Pretty soon all that's going to go, and I'm going to try to get the tool for roof pitch and put the roof pitch over the whole camper roof. I have plywood around. My other plywood had a bunch of like weird looking ants, and then it looked like the eggs for the ants looked like rice, so it looked like a pile of rice when I lifted up the plywood, so I whipped that bitch into the woods to decompose. I have hopefully 30 pavers I'm going to go buy for $1 each, which would normally cost upwards of 150. So I'm pretty fucking excited about that bitch. Dragonfly right to left. The plan for this gazebo, and let me know if my service sucks. When I try to move it around, it doesn't work that well. I want it to be lifted, but I also want it to be able to be set on the ground. I wanted to go get a hoe, but I didn't hit the gym enough. But I also wanted to go get a garden hoe and come back and flatten this whole thing out. And then I had up in Grand Isle, which is very far from me, I wanted somebody had a bunch of landscape stone, some white landscape marble stone or whatever, like the pebbles, not gravel, like one step up. So I was gonna put this in the ground, put cinder blocks on this, and then put the white rocks so that people could come here and sit and not get ticks. What I might do, just to eliminate a lot of those deck boards that I have a lot of wood just lying around that I need to get rid of. So I think I'm going to, let's try to work this out together, everybody. So the way that I have it now is that there's two 6-foot boards on either side. Above those 6-foot boards are two more 6-foot boards with small boards in the middle, and then it's long screws just drilled down. I want to lift this up onto all those cinder blocks. I'm thinking groups of them, 5 groups, or around, so 5 on each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each, and then in the middle so that you can walk on it and it just presses into the ground. Not many people come up here anyway. It's more of a novelty, and to open up, I think God will start sending people here once it's built. I have this strong inclination that the people that own the place don't deserve the place, and the people the place is meant for will continuously show up and prove why the owners don't deserve the place and challenge their fake beliefs. Hear that? What the fuck was that? So, can I speak, please? Fuck you. Holy crap. He's been going all day. There's just all the other crows were like, I'm fucking out of here. It's Leo season. Casey's too powerful. There's this one that keeps coming back to be like, fuck you, 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 all day. He went for like 4 hours. There he is. I think these are actually ravens. When the crows leave, the ravens come. When the hawks go for the ravens leave and the crows come back. Ooh, that might actually be a hawk. When you hear the dra, 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 that's crows signaling a predator. When they do it really fast, rah, 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 that means they're chasing a hawk away and they're trying to bite it. So that's actually a raven. There's no dead animals here. There's only deer that sleep. There's deer that sleep right in the wood tree line right there. There's 3 deer that come at night now and hang out. And then there's a herd of deer at the bottom of the hill on the other side of the trail, like halfway up the hillside. There was a place I was going to build the gym, but then going up there I noticed that this winter there's about 15 deer that would sleep there. So if they haven't all been killed yet, they're going to be coming back. There's already 2 fawns and a doe that hang out. Creative Society has great news. That's great. Whereabouts in Vermont are you from? I'm pretty much from southern Vermont. But at 14, I left in DCF and I traveled around Vermont. So I'm not really from anywhere. Because deep in Vermont, if you don't have friends that have dirt bikes and go fishing, you're kind of just somebody that sits alone. And my family's from New York City. So, raised by people from New York City, alone in the mountains, you kind of become somebody that's kind of like New York City. You get bits and pieces of the culture. That's why my voice is like this and not like Vermonters, which I can't even force. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. No. I talk like regular Joes from New York. I found. That's because my parents are both from there. But I've been all around Vermont my whole life. I just stayed by myself. My girlfriends were either of another race or not from Vermont either, so it is what it is. Let me show you. Hopefully it won't reconnect. Yo, what's the good word? I got paid nothing, and he blocked me. So I don't know what to do about that. I worked 8 days straight. 31.5 are unpaid, and he owes me $60 from the previous week. Running low. I think I'm down to like my last $100, and I'm gonna go buy 30 pavers for $1 each. I get it. I'm from South Hero, Vermont. South Hero, Vermont is not Vermont, man. South Hero, Vermont is just really rich people. That means you probably went to Milton. You probably went to, if you're telling the truth, you probably went to Milton. A little bit of Canadian. Hey, I really tried to work at that gas station. And I helped the church. I helped the church build a parking lot program, and eventually they started freaking out about my shed. And then they started demanding I sign forms for insurance, and that really defeated the purpose of people that are struggling to leave the woods after being homeless so long. And if they finally get a car, they don't want all those power games, and the church started doing those power games. But I got this shed for that church in South Hero, and then because I put a lock on it, they were convinced that I was hiding drugs in it because they couldn't open it. So then they demanded I remove it because it would be dangerous for the kids. So then I go there, And then right next to it, there's, if you go to South Hero at the church there's a fucking moldy, like dilapidated, rusty nails sticking out of the whole thing right next to the playground. And I was like, why are you bullshitting me? You don't care about insurance. A kid could fall and impale himself on a rusty nail any day. And you don't give a fuck. Is it because the shed is nice and I donated it to them so that when I leave and I finally find a place, people that come after me that beg to empty their car out so they can do DoorDash and Walmart Spark have a place to put it? So it turns out that people up there are like everyone with money. They're just looking for tax breaks. So like, let's let them sleep in the parking lot so we can turn this into a non-profit. Have deductibles and shit. They don't give a fuck. They go out of your way to try to make it so you ruin your own stay. Even if I'm like the nicest example you'll find of any homeless person that comes through. So if they treat me that way, I can't imagine what they do to the other people. But this shed was originally for South Hero. I don't think you're telling the truth. It's been around a while. You've heard me say South Hero for a while. But maybe you are. So, we're ready. What it's going to be, because I found that the best feeling you can get if you're trying to sit out in the woods and find God is this paver I have like 20 of these garden chairs I got the place, and you just sit here. I learned this from my pigeon master that taught me the ways of sitting in the woods, where you just wander between 4 different spots and just stand there for hours at a time, just staring at nothing. And then occasionally a mosquito will fly by and you go. Unalak, the chief of the Northern Water Tribe, who actually lives back there, and every morning he flies from back there to go get water, and he chills by the water. I've been reaching out to people trying to find him a pigeon wife. Nobody's got anything right now, but eventually I'm going to try to release a pigeon here for Unalak so that he can have a flock eventually, the Una flock. So this is what I'd like, is just a bunch of seating areas so that people can come up here and just sit down. But for this, where eventually the garden will be, I'm going to use all my broken pieces for this little section because I like how the grass grows between it. And then the more serious, larger pavers I'm going to put around here with the stone pavers that look like those down there. Hopefully I'm about to get 30 more of those. I'll go show you. I was going to try to use rocks and then chisel them flat, but I might use them for something else. I should have 30 more of these coming, hopefully. So with 30 square feet, I'm trying to put another seating area somewhere. Either between these, so I only have 4 of these left. So however I design this, 1, 2, move that up. Keep this because it looks cool. 3 right there, and then 4 right there. And then this will come down and meet it. But there will be gaps, so hopefully people will see it like hopscotch, where you jump across them, because that's what I like to do. And then just try to make it look nice with rocks and pavers and stuff. So that the garden area is here. And then you have the rest area here. So I'm asking for advice here with this. I don't know how good my service is. Can everyone hear me? I'm trying to put all the deck boards in between these two. Or actually, I might turn it sideways. So I might turn it. That might be better actually. So turn this sideways so that this is the entryway where the overhangs. That's the entryway. So then all the boards will go in that gap. And then when I get to that middle, I will unscrew them and then screw in more deck boards. Which means I want it to be sitting on something. which I don't know exactly how to do. I might have to, I'm thinking 3 2x6x12s. One 2x6x12 across, one 2x6x12 across, one in the middle, and then lay the deck boards just right over that, and then figure out the measurement for what to put under it for like a cross frame, and then in the gaps of that put my cinder blocks and try to raise it one cinder block off the ground. I made these nice deck boards. I really like this, but it's just not matching the size. I'd have to put it on 2 cinder blocks to make it up. And to do that, I don't know how, I don't think I'd have to use a lot less cinder blocks. And then I'd have to put like 2 posts. This is really from Vermont? I doubt it. Because he said, I've only mentioned like 4 different Vermont towns I could be in. His name is Malicious Intent. He mentioned one of the towns I've mentioned that I've been to. But I actually live very far from there now. That was just this winter. Yeah, I used to try to work at all the farms up there. They're just wealthy. They want everybody gone. But the only cop that works there, his name is Ray, and I got this shed for them from somebody named KC, which is pretty cool. Oh, I watched this video last night. It said the rooms you won't believe the rooms you're about to enter. And then it said that she says, I'm seeing this girl from Star Wars, which is Ray, but she gets it confused and says, I think her name is Kai, like Kai Sanat, KC. And then she says, I'm seeing that you're like a giant ancient tree. And I was like, hell yeah, you think those are demons telling her? You think those are angels or God? Because she says she literally prayed right before she did the reading. She prays. I suddenly get a reading and she goes, I'm seeing Ray from Star Wars, but thinks her name is Kai. And then she says, you're literally like a giant ancient tree in spirit. And you get placed places because people don't realize what you are. And then you change the entire space, and then you have to move once your work is done. And I'm like, that's pretty much what I've been saying. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So that was pretty cool. It makes me feel less alone. So this I'm hoping eventually to get a camera, and now I have a computer. Then I can make Will Survives type videos. I'm the evil Will Survives who never made it, and now I've just been homeless for years. I'm the Will Survives that the white people didn't like. Will Survives was homeless and went out in the woods, and he was celebrated. I go out in the woods, and people try to kill me. I guess I should have picked Oregon instead of Vermont. I think Will Survives is more autistic than me, but dumber. With a lot less trauma. I'm the dark Will Survives for real. I'm evil Will Survive. Where's my hair tie, man? I never do any prep before the stream. You should have. I should have what? Will Survives is a nut. Will Survives barely spent any time with that girl, and now she's pregnant. She does not live with him. She lives very far away. He barely spent any time with her, and now she's pregnant. So he's building her a house to live in so that he can have a wife and child. He started believing in Jesus. And he's got money. He's got a lot of money. So the people that come into his life don't show him the same disrespect and animosity towards me. I think if Will Survives was just as homeless as I am. Oh, from Vermont to Oregon? Yeah. I thought I needed to be here for some reason. I thought this was like my kingdom, and I had to travel around like Brian Boru and unite New Ireland to kick out the Vikings and the colonizers. What ended up happening is I realized the same thing Brian Boru did. They'll only love you if you have money. So then he, in his 30s, amassed his wealth from his family, became a nobleman again instead of a homeless kid like he was. Brian Boru was homeless from 14 to 30. I've been homeless since I was 14. But Vikings killed his parents, and my parents were killed by white people, basically. Just traumatized into being unable to function. And then they took our land and everything. So we technically did have the similar experiences, but less brutal, and they're still alive. Imagine if Brian's parents were working to weaponize law enforcement to hurt him just because he's getting subscribers on the internet. Okay, what am I doing? I'm doing this. Gloves. But yeah, eventually Brian got back into his noble house again. He built himself back up as an established, wealthy, what's it called in a serfdom? Not a landlord, but like a lord of some kind. And then once he had the political standing again, then all the people that left him to die from 14 to 30 magically wanted a part of his again. So then from his 30s to 60s, he just kept building armies and sending them off until he became the last High King of Ireland, and then did one sweep of the top of Ireland down. Ireland's about the size of like upstate New York to New York City to Boston to Old Orchard Beach, roughly. So like Vermont, New Hampshire, and then part of New York, part of Maine, and part of Massachusetts. As big as Ireland is. And I was like, that's the same distance I normally travel. And it's all Irish people. It's like we're in New Ireland. So I thought that I had to free my people. And it sucked. And Vermont just feels special. And I like the trees. When I look at pictures of other places, it looks like the same exact tree everywhere. And I was like, I don't like that. I like how different everything is here. And then it's like, yeah, keep Vermont weird. Everybody's different. Until you get closer to Canada, and then you see that they're all just kind of like stale, old, prejudiced colonizers that their families used to have Irish slaves. Which is where I've been the past 2 years. That shit is 400 pounds. I don't know. The gym really, like, your muscle remembers really quickly. Like, I just did a couple workouts. It was also at an angle, to be fair. I didn't have to deadlift that completely. Yeah. but do you got room for one more troubled soul? I'm coming home. I heard the boss has blocked you. Sounds like you gotta take another approach. Why don't you show up to his house on live stream and expose him? If you bet I'll pay you then. Or he might just fucking shoot me. He said he loves God, so... I don't know. The last text I said to him was that please don't make me have to go to the Department of Labor, because then it becomes overtime. And I thought I was trying, he was a boxing champion. He was a mechanic that offered to fix my car for free. Seems like he's now a liar, which sucks. But he also has 6 kids, and he rents. That's a lot of money a month. I was trying to get him a job somebody offered me in 2023 for $200,000 a year to load up a box truck and then deliver appliances down Route 7 from Burlington down. I was trying to get him that. And then hopefully, like, my whole plan in life was to get a large section of a mountain and then just sporadically place things. So I'm like, you could have like 15 acres over there and then just buy it, you know, sell it back to me eventually or whatever. When you move to, like, because eventually he'll want probably 40 acres, right, and an ATV and to drive around. He might move to Colorado or something. That's normally what people with big families do around here. So I was like, have that place for now and then help me build it up, and then when you leave, just give me the title back or whatever. I wouldn't really care about a title. I'm just trying to get this place. I wanted to do that for a lot of people. So that's what I was looking for. I wasn't looking to stiff him what ends up being, what's 12, shut up, 12 times 20. It's 240 bucks. That's all I was asking, was 240 bucks. Because he didn't answer me at all. And then when I pressured him and mentioned small claims court, then he said, I'll pay you 19 hours. So I went and got proof that it would be impossible to measure what I did in less than 30 hours. A professional contractor, it would take 30 to 48 hours. I was, according to like 150 different sources Grok referenced about like unions and wage jobs and different websites for contractors to talk to each other and ask about stuff. Sometimes they give a number of like 25, but when you look at that 25 number, that's not for curved siding and that's not for the thick paint. So like just regular paint, oil-based or whatever, on flat siding, then it might take 25 hours. I wish I had recorded myself doing it so you could see. But yeah, the fact that it's like 738.69 square feet that I measured, that I did alone, and then I used a reference of 149.5 square feet that we know took between 6.5 and 8 hours, because I spent the whole day on that, but I left briefly to go do a round off the front porch on the side there, but that wasn't more than 30 minutes. And then I did when I finished that and did around the propane tanks, that was for about 30 minutes. And then I climbed up the ladder and I worked for maybe 30 minutes on the roof before he told me to come down. And it was a 9.5 hour shift, 10 hours plus a half-hour lunch. So 9.5 hours I did that. So I said between 6.5 and 8 hours. It was definitely more like 7 hours. So if you remember, I said that I was shaving off time at the end, like if I worked till 4:30, because he said he was really stressed about money all the time, and I wanted him to continue paying me. So I was shaving off, you know, if I worked till like 4:30, like if it was around 4:30, I would say 4 o'clock. I never added hours, I shaved off hours. So that's why usually the square footage actually totals like 33 to 35 hours, because every day I would shave off time for him. Or if I did lunch, I would say an hour lunch instead of it took me like 20 minutes to eat that sandwich and go back. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was helping the guy. But what it aligns to is 32 hours have taken for 6.5 hours for that reference space. And with that, sorry, 6.5 hours for the 149 feet, so 738 goes to 32 hours. I have 31.5 logged. It's for 32 hours, 20 minutes a pad. It said I would use 96 pads. I used 95 pads, which is enough to show that although I don't have the receipt and something happened, it's the client says I didn't go on the 27th. I don't have the receipt for the 27th. It really looks like I wasn't there. But with your eyes, hopefully, if he's a good person, can look and be like, that would be physically impossible to do what you did unless you were actually there. And I'm not lying. So I'm like, that's very unusual that there's like an alley-oop there. But so I went and took the measurements themselves. And the measurements proved the time. So if they try to dispute that it would take me less time to do the reference space, then I would go and literally go there to the spaces that are left, and I would just sand for an hour to show what I can do in an hour. And then you'll see me working hard. I'll go as fast as I can. And then with that, you can see how long it actually takes to do. And then apply that to the square foot measurements. You heard? Not can you get shot, you can get the police called on you and say go to small claims court. Yeah, you go to the Department of Labor first, and then you go to small claims court. If you to show good faith, because if I brought it right to small claims court, they would be giving me triple damages, which is 3 times the amount that I'm owed. So it would be 31.5 times 3 times 20. Wait, 33.5. And then 27.5 of that would be overtime because of Vermont law. It has to be paid overtime, which is not what I was trying to do. But now that we have to do this, those 27.5 hours become overtime. So 27.5 hours of that becomes overtime plus 4 hours. So 80 plus 27.5 times 1.5 times 20 plus the 60 he owes me, plus the 75 for materials, times 3, because in small claims court, it's triple damages, is usually what's awarded for situations like this, where the guy disappears, won't call you, but is talking to the client with proof that he's talking to the client, but not me, telling the client to tell me to keep working, and then saying that he never paid me and he doesn't know what's going on. His whole plan was to leave on the 24th and never come back. And to just have me do as much of the job as I can, get paid for whatever hours I can prove that I worked, and then he pockets the rest for himself. So he's just continuously trying to dispute anything he can. What I'm concerned about is that the client is backing him up. The whole time the client is backing him up. And I said, you were literally there. And she wouldn't look at me in the eyes. She looked down. She wouldn't look at me. And then later behind my back, I saw that she had shaved off an entire day of my work. Because she was probably mad that because he wasn't showing up, she had to pay out of pocket for the lift to be towed and then rented again, which has like upfront fees. So I bet you'll find that the hours that she shaved off my timesheet align with what the lift would cost. That's the only thing I can make sense of right now. Stick up for your safety in case you don't feel guilty. Well, let's see if I got a message back. I don't see a reason for them to doubt me. And then I've offered to do like a lot more than what's necessary to prove that I'm not lying. Put the gloves on. I'm going to try to take this big stone pavement, this big rock pavement. I'm going to try to put it here. I
had it all lined up the way I wanted yesterday, or 2 days ago now, because it rained. So let me figure that again. So I have that. I have 2 corner pieces and 2 half pieces. I want it to flow like this. So if I put the block in like this, at an angle that I like. Oh shit! Oh shit! Am I doing it right? Okay, I want this on this side, but this is also. Yeah, that's cool. And then this has to align with something. So that corner here, and set at an angle. And I put that across. And this is at an angle. And I put that shim in there. And I try to do this. Did I do it right? Good enough for me. Yeah.
Bitch, I might want to edit this later.
Literally it. Evil will survive. Ugh.
Break. Those shits weigh 400 pounds. So, surviving alone in a dangerous place where people try to kill me a lot. They haven't in a while because I'm on private property and I had permission to be here until the 90-year-old's daughters took over his assets because he can't remember anything. I was telling him, oh, I got all these pavers and I got the gazebo and I'm building on the woodshed and we fixed the cross with the solar panels and the stuff and I got roof pitch for the camper, stuff like that. And then a guy cornered me in the shed, got in my face, tried to get me to fight him, yelled at me, stormed around my car, recording all the key marks on it and the dents from people kicking it. And then he stopped answering for 2 months. And then no word from anybody. Then the guy that did that to me in the shed shows up with 2 women. They go, is that the individual? I said, well, I have a name. My name's Casey, nice to meet you. They don't want to hear about God. They don't want to see my videos I recorded and stuff in my notes from months before I got here when I was 8 hours away. Talking about how I see myself on a hillside and it's not owned by anybody, so there's some golden light that's going out into the community and I have to keep it protected from the imposing will of others. And then I got here. They don't care because it's their imposing will. They're trying to steal the place to log it for their family, they said. Log all the trees and then sell it. The owner spent 50 years of his life since he was 40 building this place to be an apocalypse sanctuary for Christians. And he found just about as much help as I have. The only people that come help him are people that behind his back brag about how he forgets things. So they take advantage of him. And then when he finds out, he's like, well, you gave us permission, you don't remember? Those are the only people. They're supposed to mow this. They only mowed because the daughters were showing up. And they're a Christian organization that's persecuting a homeless man who has proof of God. And I'm like, don't you see how cartoonishly this was orchestrated? And you believe in God, why don't you think that this is God's doing to test you? Maybe you could have deserved the property, but now you don't. You've been here and seeing it, shit is nuts. It's really weird. They act really cartoonishly, especially Long Lake. The Long Lake video with the old ladies and the false police reports and the cops trying to get me for anything and then eventually saying, no, we're going. And then they find my YouTube channel and they they call me just to say that they saw it. That was pretty cool that they watched. But then I got pulled over from every single town from Long Lake back to Vermont trying to go fix my headlight. And then found out at the very end that my license was suspended from a previous car in 2022 that had a headlight out that I never emailed them back a picture. That's not a good smell. Yeah, this one's moldy. What's the expiration date? June. That's been in my car since June and I almost drank it. Because I get the same drink every day, so I found that buried in the back seat. I thought it was an earlier drink. It's getting hot, man. I don't know what I said. I have panic attacks now, and I binge eat these protein bars. So even if I have panic attacks, instead of going and getting a Domino's pizza to cope, I just eat a shit ton of protein bars. Because I prayed to God. I said, I don't know
how I'm going to be able to build muscle. And then the next one of protein bars. So originally you're only supposed to have 2 boxes per person, but they said nobody eats them, so you can just have them. So now I binge eat protein. This is what it looks like now. On August 8th, did it feel like you got hit with some powerful energy and it motivated you to do something? Like for me, it was record my song and play my songs. It felt like I was given freedom and then I was constricted by the narratives and energies around me. And I had to make decisions to fizzle away or unfray all these like woven garbage energies. And I did make some progress, I'm pretty happy with. But I didn't reach out to the trail guide in Alaska. I didn't reach out to that ranch in Montana that has a music studio, because they're both looking for people with lots of experience and I have no experience. But there's no way for me to get experience because everybody's only looking for lots of experience online, and nobody in my state cares enough to be like, yeah, we'll teach you how to ride a horse. Which means I either have to go to Texas, buy a $200 horse nobody wants, and then ride that bitch back up to Vermont, or I have to save up a bunch of money in gas and just go farm to farm to farm to farm to farm, saying, hey, I'm just looking for experience to get a ranch hand job and a trail guide job, need to get on a horse, don't have much money, but don't mind shoveling shit and doing odd jobs around the place, and just see who eventually can help. Those are my options. What the money, if I had gotten paid for this job, it would have gone to either a down payment on the camper for Kool-Aid, or paying the rest of the car off that I owe, getting the title, registration, and insurance. Or try to split up, see if they'll split up both, or go to the person who I owe $1,000 to for this car and be like, hey, $3,000 camper, you know, you wouldn't turn that down either. And then from there, I'm going to park the camper beside a farm and just go in every morning till sundown and get paid hourly. And then in a week, I'll have that for you, but I need the camper now to do that. I guess I could try. That mattress is probably really moldy and done for. I got to throw that out, but I could try to put a bedroom in the car again. I'm not getting evicted from the property, so you know, I don't think they really care if I put a storage shed with all my stuff in it. We'll see what happens. That's starting to look really nice. It's not as cobblestone as I want it to look. Like, I'd prefer if that one on the right there, was broken into pieces and then put back together uneven so that it looks like cobble and not like, you know, I think that's too strong of a 3 big shapes together. It makes it look unpleasant to me. That's pretty cool. One, two, three. I have 4 of these pavers left. Ah, 6 total. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I have 7 total. Wait, 1, 2. I have 6 total. 6.5. And half will go. I'll try to put half there, the other half there. I guess it'll be that it doesn't go out there and then it just goes around to this. Or I could just have it go straight back to the car. No, I think it should go between these, because there will be two garden sections here. The gazebo to the main garden section back here with these rocks. But I want it to go back down this way. This way? That's a baby robin, I think. Baby robin right to left says, make it to the driveway. Make it to the car. You abandoned your house and moved into a camper last month. And the internet makes it seem like if you just work hard, you'll get it. I think we're obviously like children compared to some higher intelligence. And it knew what the future was going to hold. So it and the government worked together to keep the American dream and capitalism going as long as it could, to be rewarding for this generation. And then we're going to hit AI, where everything's completely different. So I think that we were forewarned during COVID and given a massive amount of opportunity during COVID to do a lot of stuff online before AI, to establish ourselves and get into the internet. And then when AI was first in development, it gave us a massive amount of opportunity for money through AI automation, AI YouTube channels that get partnered and then get flooded everywhere. Andrew Tate, just clipping Andrew Tate could have made you $100,000 a year. In 2022, I just couldn't get it. Every time I tried, I couldn't get a computer working. I couldn't get Wi-Fi. I couldn't get a gym membership to shower. I couldn't get a job. I was just door dashing 16 hours a day, trying my best and barely functioning from police brutalities that kept happening. But I saw it, and I was trying to get people involved to do it, and everyone was like, no, I'm better than that. I'm better than that. Nobody would listen, and then they got addicted to crack, and some of them died. Literally. I was in one time. I was in a former millionaire who lost everything to crack, he said, and gambling, who used to have a tech job, and he called a guy named Mark Menderson in Florida, who was worth over $100 million. They laughed in my face, and then the guy I think somebody said he overdosed on the crack. But last time I saw him, he was smoking crack. He fucking whipped his dick out and started jerking off, holding an assault rifle next to me on the porn Omegle. And I just, can I take a shower, dude? Yeah, go for it, man. And then I took a shower, and then I fucking left. But not before I came out of the shower. Dude was butt-ass naked playing my song on the piano with that Chatterbait whatever open. So I sang my song, and then I left. That really happened. When I tell you that, like, they dangle what I need in front of me like a carrot on a stick, and then they just torture me. How much will I endure to get what I want? I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'd rather be homeless. I went back to freeze to death instead of deal with that shit. He had a fucking assault rifle next to him, dude. Shit like that. Where there's a 16-year-old that's making $100K a year on e-commerce, and I'm sitting in a McDonald's with him trying to learn, and he won't tell me. And I'm homeless, so I have to be there anyway, and he's sitting right across from me making ridiculous amounts of money. So I'm just like, hey, can I learn whatever? I'm not trying to steal your products, but can you teach me what you do, and I'll find my own products, and I'll run it by you, and I'll pay you. He's like, how about I give you 3 toothbrushes that I sell, and you try to sell those 3 toothbrushes? And I'm like, I don't know how you make so much money, and you're so retarded, bro. Come on. Why is it all about pride? And then he says, this 16-year-old huge buff Chinese kid, tells me flat out that when he's at home, he worships somebody named Mammon, and because he worships Mammon, Mammon helps him and gets into his head and helps him identify the right products and makes them sell so that he makes all his money. Flat out, a 16-year-old Chinese boy who is 6'5", flat out tells me that he's worshiping whoever Mammon is. Can somebody Google Mammon quick? Who the fuck is Mammon? Because Mammon was helping him get all that money, and that's why he was messed up spiritually. Because he said it was a wrong thing that he was doing. I don't know what that means. Stuff like that, where these people their net worth is well over 200K each, and they come up here just to shit on me about how their son trains sled dogs and goes on sled dog trips in Alaska, and then comes back to Vermont and does trails. I'm like, that's really cool, and then they get mad that I'm really supportive of that because they were trying to make me feel bad. In other words, it's just another name. Alright, that makes sense. I'm starting to think that I accidentally infiltrated a Satanist group and they're just pretending to be Christians while they accumulate wealth, and that's why they're so upset that I'm like, the story of me in their minds right now is really biblically aligned. Homeless guy on a wilderness journey has this big dream and prophesized he would be in this place, and then winds up in this place with proof that it was an external force that kicked him from place to place to place. It wasn't his actions, it was the actions of other people that forced him here. And then he gives up and tries to shoot himself like 100 feet from the entrance, not knowing this place exists because it's the winter, so you can't get up here. And then as soon as the next day when he's out and he's back, another actual Christian that came here for her wedding, that is not involved with these guys, but came here and did her wedding here, comes up here to pray, and then invites me up here, tells me it's for people like me because that's what she was told. She didn't know they were bullshitting. And now they're very mad that I'm here just trying to make the owner's dreams come true. It seems like there's a lot of negative things on their end. Or you could just chalk it up to them being boomers and prejudice from an older time. But either way, it sucks. So they've already proven that they'll come up here and smash everything I own. So I'm trying to make it as hard to smash as possible. Like these pavers, which they're old, they're not going to want to lift. And if I make it nice enough, they probably won't want to move it because they'll want to take advantage of it. So then I have to work. Oh, I was talking about AI automation, and then we had crypto. So they gave us AI automation, and they gave us access to just constantly pump out AI content and utilize AI algorithms to take advantage of social media. Could have made a lot of money. Then with that money we would have made, we could have put that into crypto, then meme coins, and with the AI systems we already built that they were telling us to build through our algorithms, just constantly spamming us with do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. We could have got into crypto, farm meme coins, and taken money from rich suburban kids that don't know what they're doing and using their parents' money. We could have had that. That's the transition into Aquarius, by the way. Pluto moving from Taurus to Aquarius is that power that's been held by people for a long time gets spread out back through the community. So that had to happen. So it happened. It generated in this reality by giving us constant opportunities to take money from the upper middle class. And I couldn't, but I kept saying, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. I kept trying to get Demon Hunter to do it. I kept trying to get everybody to do it. And I physically couldn't do it. So now I'm here. People did make a lot of money, but we're about to hit, Elon Musk says pretty quickly, AI is going to supersede humanity in literally everything. So it's going to be universal high income, where we get sort of a stimulus check as American citizens for the work that AI does for us. Like WALL-E. Where we no longer need money the way that we need money now. Like, you don't pay a contractor anymore, you pay an AI company that has robots to do the work. So the only way to make American citizens not destroy all those robots because there's an impossible ceiling now where nobody can get past the lower class. The only way to keep us from revolution would be flock cameras and would be essentially universal welfare. Which is why they're pumping out that content about the welfare wars. Like, stop these people from spending all this money on fudge rounds and all this shit. That's American taxpayer dollars. It's because they're trying to gauge about what time frame exactly and what they need to do to steer the American public into being happy about receiving welfare. Because the majority of America will be on welfare because artificial intelligence will be doing the work for us. And they're going to use AI to make it so we can't all be squatters. So that we all don't go out in the woods and just build our own shit. And that we're forced to be in our pens. Homelessness was a test about how to manage the entire country. So because of the amount of overpopulation, they're either going to try to acquire Mexico, and then South America and major parts of Canada like Trump tried to do, or said he was going to do, like Greenland. They're going to be reaching for more land, which will be really tough with other countries. And then the land that we do have, it's going to move towards it already is kind of a subscription service, but we'll be moving away from ownership and more towards a subscription service where you're no matter what, you can't own the land, you have to rent the land. Your car will be a subscription service. Your house will be a subscription service. Everything in your life will be a subscription service. If this is the lifestyle you want, this is what it will cost you monthly. So you have to go build water channels to funnel into AI data centers long enough to be able to pay for what we'll call your homeless winter character arc. Instead of buying a house, you will have to save up money to pay for your character arc. So you get a package. This is what the gym will cost. This is what the car will cost. This is what the rent will cost. This is what the food will cost. Everything we have lined up for you through companies with your every macro you'll need and the exact car you want and the house you can live in. So then you just pay for that outright for 3 months. And then at the end of it, you'll be slightly better than you were before, but then you have to continue on paying for the next arc. It will never be, ever, that you can just sit out by, like Thanos at the end of Endgame, which is why he snapped half the population away. It's so that he could just sit by himself and not have to pay rent and just farm the land. That will be impossible, unless he moved to another country. But eventually America will find a way to ruin that. And the Freemasonic, satanic Black Rock organization that controls the majority of the first, second, and third world. The only way to live the American dream would be to find the gaps in their system far away from America. Or to be homeless. The only way to live the American dream is to be homeless now, and squatting, or to be in another country far away. To be an American citizen is to be a prisoner, is to be a slave, and is only going to get worse. But in order to manage revolution, they will have increased artificial intelligence security, and they will give us some type of stimulus for a baseline lifestyle, and then you pay extra for character arcs. Sounds like an apocalypse to me. Something in your hand that you can't buy or sell without of. What's in your hand right now? Tap to pay. Weird. I don't know what that notification was. But it's really nice out. And I'm probably going to have to turn into some type of Mad Max guerrilla warrior in the coming years, So I'm trying to just sit and enjoy it. Bird on my right side chirping now. Patience. It will be who can evolve their biology enough and their consciousness to be able to control their electromagnetic field to dispel hindering influence from people that are more connected to AI, cell towers, and then whatever else they do now that they have all these satellites in the sky to sort of suppress and control the natural state of the planet. It's going to be a lot of people in basements. And then most of us will be ostracized out of the most beautiful parts of the country, and that will be where the elite class goes. Like here, they're making it impossible to own second homes here, and they are making the property taxes way too expensive, and they're making the cost of living raise, and they're making everything more expensive for the food, so that the people that aren't the wealthy class have to move. So then they're bringing in a lot of homeless people, and then they're taking advantage of cornering them like caged animals, driving them into severe PTSD, giving them no options or help available, and then turning the public against them to raise crime so that it looks worse, and that they feel with that differential between the homeless and the people, it makes them feel like they're not people. So that makes them feel at war with the people that are hurting them, like what happened to me. So, and then when that happened to me, I felt happy shitting on the ground. So of course there are people shitting on the sidewalk and breaking into places. That's not for the wealthy, because the wealthy are smart and they know what's going on. It's to lower property values so that people can buy them, as behind the people's backs property taxes are increasing, and they're trying to make it so enough people move out of Vermont so that their land can be acquired. They're trying to shift this to a more wealthy place. And that's going to happen everywhere where the rich people want to live. They're going to flood it with homeless people. They're going to increase crime. They're going to make the cost of living unaffordable. And they're going to try to encourage everybody to escape. Escape. When all you really need is to go talk to those homeless people. The best way to cure the mental illness that happens with homeless people is to give them a 5-foot by 5-foot space in the woods that's theirs and nobody else can go in, and then just continuously have conversations with them. All you have to do is talk to them, and they'll stop shitting on the ground. Like when people go on Facebook and they talk about homeless people behind their back and try to get people to hurt them, I just go, how about you tag him? How about you just tag the person? I bet he has Facebook. Just tag that person and be like, why did you do this? And it'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, those are clearly identifiable systemic problems that we can solve. That literally took me like less than 5 seconds. But it's been this like decade-long problem. Because nobody will just go talk to those people. Which brings us to the main issue, is that the boomers are not dying as fast as we need them to. Once the boomers die, it'll be pretty simple. You have an addiction and you're strung out on the street like this. Some guy says, hey, how about you work out in the gym every day? The guy goes in and starts working out, makes some friends, enjoys himself, has a good time, no longer shits on the street, meets somebody, hey, you can stay in my camper. Stays in the camper for 3 months because he's doing better. He might still have an addiction, but at the very least, he's healing. If it's somebody that would steal from other people, then you have to leave. You don't beat them until they can't function, because that'll raise crime for them, that'll make them more. You do increase the quality of their life, but you do it in a way where you aren't taken advantage of. Which is saying that there's 100 acres called the Freelands. I'll give you a bus ticket out there. You go out there as long as you need. You want to keep pumping drugs, whatever, do that, do it out there. But don't kick them until they die or get arrested for trespassing and go to jail. Um, you're like, this is the good path, and then this is the alternative path, which is that you get corralled into like not a labor camp, but more like a Skid Row, but not Skid Row, more like a hillside. Not Skid Row, like a Dr. Phil ranch, and then people get paid pretty well to go in there and manage it. That's what I do. I'd be trying to build a space where the demonic influence on the people would be impossible to operate in that space. Sort of like building a massive resonance chamber where the forest atmosphere gets enlightened by the sun, and it's just so many good vibes in that garden. You don't really feel the need to escape into a drug. Does that make sense? And that's what I came to on my own. And then I found out that that's what they do in most European countries, and it completely deters. There's never any repeat offenders after that. When you put them in like a box and they're all attacking each other and gang violence and all this crap, they go right back out because that's what they're conditioned to operate in, and then they go back out into society and then they do it out there. They learn skills on how to be criminals in prison. They want repeat offenders. But in Europe, most European countries, where you go, and it's probably way better than the life you were living. Abundance and kindness, but isolated and alone. So you go through that for a long time. It's impossible to be the way that you were because things are very nice. So when they get out, they're never repeat offenders. Almost, I'm pretty sure never. So now I'm interested to see in the next few years how that system operates with refugees and migrants that are supposedly flooding those countries and trying to destroy it. When people are like, oh, we need to do something. When they go to jail in those European countries, they go to a very nice place. I just have a feeling that that niceness will spread afterwards. And that's based on empirical data as well. Instead of trying to kill people you don't like because they're going through shit and doing bad shit to people, if you literally give them grace and kindness, like the Bible says, if you literally kill them with kindness, not fake kindness, real kindness, they don't want to hurt people. They don't want to commit crimes. So they end up making everything better afterwards. Because after they leave that nice place, they want to make the world as nice. So then the only change I would make to European prison systems is the education to continue working towards making everywhere as nice as it was in that sentence, so that you can have that sentence, you can have that nice life, but you don't have to be in isolation. You can have a family and have that place. You want to get back to that place, but you don't want to be alone. Loneliness is the worst punishment, because you have to sit with yourself. So they let you sit with yourself, but they don't let you sit with yourself in a shitty box. They let you sit with yourself alone in a nice place with a time limit. So you almost don't want to leave. And in that, they give you skills, and they give you the ability to go get that life for yourself afterwards. Which I think was what America was trying to be. They were trying to make it like the Irish would say, we hate the colonizers, but we build America for the people that come after us. So they would make these places so that people would come from other countries and see how nice it is, and then they would continue trying to improve it. That's what they're doing to the prison system in Europe, and it's working. Okay. I don't know what that notification is. I move all these there. I move the wood back to the wood pile. I haul that. I get the ramps there. I put that over on the wood pile. Then I assemble the dumbbells onto that barbell there so I can have something to use. And then I move. I'm not going to give his kids the dirt bike that I got him. I got my old boss a dirt bike for his daughter or his son. It's just pink. It's a pink dirt bike and a blue electric car. And I was going to give that to him, but I'm just going to put it on the side of the road now in some random town far away the next time I go on a trip. Yeah, I don't even want to see if it works. I could get some money for it, but I could put 25 for both. I don't know if they work. Let's see. No, it looks like they stripped the battery off it. But what do I want to do here? I don't know what to do with this, man. I think I'll move this into here. Move that into this. I don't have enough because I have to move that. But I wanted this to be the seating spot. I wanted to have these around, so like one here, one over there, one here. Like the pigeon does. But I don't think they'll understand that. I think they'll look at it and they'll be like, looks like shit. They won't understand that it's for you to sit on like this and just hang out away from the mosquitoes, but not on the ground so there's no ticks. Before I put these stone pavers in, I had like 1 or 2 ticks a day. Now I don't get any ticks at all. Unalak is here. He just doesn't come down. He just doesn't hang out with me anymore. He thinks he's better than me. And he's afraid of hawks. So, I'll show you. Because I have to put my phone in the charger anyway. He lives by that dead tree up there. That little one back that you can see poking out. He lives around there. And then he flies and sneaks over, looks for hawks, and then he flies from the inside one of those trees quickly, and he darts over down to where the stream is. And then I never see him go back. So I don't know if he goes back at night or if he actually lives down there and he goes over here to eat or something. I'm trying to get him a pigeon wife. Every time I get rid of the trash, it comes back. Every time I get rid of all the trash, it finds its way back onto my bed. See, it started with whatever happened with this, it started to come back in. So I still might do that because I have super glue now. Super glue Tupperware over the vent so that it can't get in, and then just take a squeegee or whatever you call it, and then just pitch where I. Why does it sound like a? I'm waiting response for 30 15-inch by 15-inch pavers. Those are crows, not unalak. And I want to just put them down somewhere here. Maybe right here. So that you can sit down. Nope. And I gotta check the weather. It says it's gonna rain soon. Hold on. There we go. Let's see how long this has been around. 15 years ago, he made this account. This is his first time in my stream. I don't care. I could try. Fuck up. Where I think I'm gonna get food. I'm running out of movies to watch, man. I'm at the point where I just Google actors and I look for movies. I went through all of Ryan Patton, or whatever his name is. Is it Robert Pattinson? I saw he did he has a new movie as Chris Hansen, so I was like, I wonder what else he's done. So I watched all of them, man. Good Time is a good movie. The Lost City of Z is a good movie. I fucking hate Matt Damon in every movie he's ever been in, except Interstellar. I'm at the point I might watch Ford v Ferrari, man. You hate to see it. That's a Raven, because they have huge feet. I'm at the point I'm ready to watch Ford v Ferrari, where they just CGI a bunch of races, add a suspenseful music, and a bunch of people pretending to react to nothing. I hate those movies, man. Racing movies is just CGI cars and then a bunch of still shot reacts of people going, ah! That's all it is. Add a shitty love story into it. That's all it is. Where the guy's too invested in his car, but he might make time for the girl maybe if she wants to be involved in the building of the car. It's all it is. Maybe add an arrogant other racer to compete with. I think that even that movie with Elizabeth Olsen, Afterlife, that's a better movie than race car movies. Race car movies suck, like, unless it's Cars. Uh, Interstellar's good. Jeremiah Johnson's pretty good. Avatar's good. I'll probably watch The Lighthouse tonight with Pattinson and Defoe. Happy Feet. I like Surf's Up. I think The Northman is boring. People celebrate The Northman like it's some amazing feat. I think it's fucking boring. I think it's porn for white supremacists. Like, they only like it because it's Vikings. I think they should remake Braveheart and have me as Brian Boru. If you prefer, guess. I think Joaquin Lepang is fat and balding and sitting at a computer. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's the 11th. Is something not good? I don't trust anybody in comment sections, man. Let's find my wallet. Get food. It is kind of nice to walk on, though. I'm gonna get some food. Okay, what I got left in my wallet? Where's my wallet? Yo, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I have 100, 40, 150. I have $158 left. Phone service is 45, gym is 45. I've got like $50 left.
I can act as foot scrapers for the mud. I have a welcome mat. My fucking hair fell out, man. There's a clump of hair on my bed. I'm dying. I'm dying. That chunk, dang. Oh God. I forgot I had a whistle up there. %. Would you look at that? I'm taking these pizza boxes with me. To make things look nicer. Keys. That's why I bought the wagon. And I bought these sawhorses for $25. It's making shit a lot easier to haul over. But I'll probably go live if I choose to do it. It's gonna be me getting all the deck boards that I can, all the 6-foot deck boards, and moving all the 6-foot deck boards over to here. That makes more sense. So I get one 2x4 by, or 2x6x12, and I lay that over this, right where this one is, in the middle. And then I take out this board right here in the middle, and then I just screw the deck boards directly under this one right here, which will align with this. It'll be the same level as this. And then as I put the boards in, I'm going to lay it on cinder blocks so that as I go and put the deck boards over, there will be cinder blocks underneath. I won't have to figure out how to jack up and move. But I have to make sure I like the angle, because I don't really like this angle. I guess, because it'll be one stair down step, one paver, 2 pavers.
1, 2, 3, 4 stone on either side, and then try to find a way to meet that in the middle so it continuously goes up to here. And I'm gonna have to move things around a bunch to make it look even and nice and not blocky and chopped. I'd like the whole thing to look like that, but I don't have enough. So I might just have 2 sections, and then I want it to meet that one, but I'll never have enough. It'll be like another $2,000 for that, just to put pavers to each and have it branch off in the middle like a tree, like that tree. But with all the cobblestone that I have and whatever stone's left over from these, I'll be able to make something. But I'm gonna have to pick that up and move it a bunch of times to try to make it look even and nobody stubs their toe and nobody falls into the cracks. But I can make it, extend it at least to the middle here. And then that's all gonna be mowed and then replaced with rocks. Something that I can just go right over with the mower. So this is probably going to get moved so it's more of an angle, so it's kind of parallel with this tree that goes to this tree here, parallel with these two. So then the back looks like it extends to those trees here. So they all kind of look geometrically connected when you look at it. The robot crows agree. I don't know, dude. I kind of like where it is. Maybe I'll actually move it back so it's still parallel, but it'll be back here, because I want you to be able to sit on this overhang. So I'm gonna mow all these because they don't get enough sun to function anyway. They die. So I'm gonna mow this whole thing back, this whole like part right here, so that when you look over you can see how far down that hill goes. And then I thought I'd dream way bigger than I can actually do. I really thought that I was going to be able to get stones and just start building stone pathways down this hill that connects to the big cross. The same way that I walked up, I wanted to have stone blocks, and then I wanted to run a solar water pump, and then a pond that accumulates. So then it pumps and then streams down. So you walk down and sit at different stations with mosquitoes. Mosquito nets on little prayer station or little like resting areas. So that if you walk all the way up here and somebody's already here, you just say hi. And then you move down and you sit over there and you try not to bark at each other like crows when you find nature. Because once you get both connected to nature, it's all a dominance game, which is why Christianity was necessary for the people back then. When you're in nature without internet, everything is just, every noise you make is a dominance thing. That's why birds scream at each other. They're either setting a territory or breaking into another creature's territory. So when you come out here, that's what's going to happen, is you're going to have old people barking at each other. Which is why you need more than one section. You need a gazebo here, you need a gazebo all the way on the other side, you need a gazebo all the way down there, and then you have the main area with the cross. You need places away from each other if you want a lot of people to be coming here. I don't think it's that noticeable that people would care, especially because it's back, but one of those pieces does not match the other design. So that's why I want to angle it back so that the tree is behind that. So there's two things that look out of place, so that your eye naturally, your eye already associates that tree with a blockage or a difference. When I look at it like here, I immediately see the difference in the pattern, but if you move it over slightly so that you're still looking this way, this is aligned with the tree, which makes it cooler, because then that looks like bark in passing. And eventually I have all the mosquito nets. I just don't have a roof. What about combining them into one giant mega gazebo? I'd need stone foundation, like cement foundations for that, but that was one of the plans. Was we have a 50-acre hayfield, and I wanted to put a big stone pavilion so that people could sit there. And if they were nicer to me, the plan was to do everything completely out of pocket. They kept arguing about whether or not they should demand I pay rent. And I'm trying to tell them, look, I'm just not functioning great. If you keep me going like this, I'm getting opportunities and I'm building a network of people. If you leave me the fuck alone, I can make all the owner's dreams come true. But they just couldn't. The idea of me sitting up here, where the owner gave me permission to be here, made them so angry. They've tried a lot of shit, including smashing everything. And they're Christians. The Christians have come up and smashed everything. And I keep having to rebuild it. I had an arbor here, but then I showed up and someone had taken it and just ripped it apart. Then they came back and saw that I left a note saying I'm at work. So then they smashed everything. Then I've been struggling to rebuild it because the plastic's bent and everything. Is it Tuesday? Where's my keys? I don't know how to put roof pitch on a camper. But it leaks in right here. So I'm assuming this opens up somewhere on the roof that's not supposed to. So then I have to take a knife and cut this all back and then replace it with something. Open the ceiling and then start work. I was gonna do that in the winter if they let me stay. Because if I was gonna be in here for long periods of time, I wanted to have something to do. Good luck in the rebuild. They want me gone on the 14th. They want me gone October 14th. They just suddenly stopped talking to me, and then they sent me a letter that says that my right to possess the land ends on the 14th. And it had to be because they showed up and saw all the boards. And then I told them that I would like to take these dead trees down that are going to fall and kill somebody. And then I wanted to build a gazebo. And none of them would look me in the eyes. I think there was just, it's like everywhere else, there's just so much telephone that happens that they have these really skewed beliefs about what's actually happening. And they don't listen to what I say. The idea that I'm the homeless guy makes it so I'm so far below them. Anything I say is of so little value, and I'm undeserving of respect. And I go, you worship a homeless schizo that flew into space. You worship a homeless man that flew into space. You genuinely believe that Jesus Christ flew into space like Superman or Homelander. Christians genuinely believe that Jesus Christ flew into space, and that's the last anyone ever saw of him. thing that really pissed them off is when I showed them that everything they've done to me is a story of the Bible, where because I was reading the Bible, I could clearly identify the parallels between what they were doing to me and what people did to Jesus. I said, I'm not saying I'm Jesus, but I'm saying that we're like reenacting it right now. If you look at the common denominator of each situation and like what the actual intentions were, it's the same exact thing. The homeless man being beaten like that happens every single day. Every single time I come down from the hillside, there's a red car that drives right in front of me. That when I eat it makes me feel like dead cardboard, so I don't really like it too much no more. And Walmart pizza, it's delicious, but afterwards, when I start processing all the sodium and shit, it makes me feel like a moldy sponge. When I eat anything but organic food, it feels like I become covered in mold, and I have beefing with my chick while I'm in jail. Okay, somebody just got back to me that all those landscaping rocks for pathways are available. You heard me? You heard me, big brother? In this parking lot. Wait for that car to go right there. And then Kendra towed my car to the nearest church. The hospital. I had to find my car, but it's not that far of a walk. And then in reality, I got out of the hospital, I left my car there, and I walked down that road to where the cross is. They had another pull-off, and I left my car there because that's public parking. So I wanted the next morning, if I lived, I would just walk back instead of having it be towed while I'm asleep. And then I was invited to stay at the cross, but you couldn't get up there.
Start all over again.
Good, how you doing?
Not too bad.
Cooking the cheese pizza. No word on the dog.
No, this
Damn.
guy's been ghosting me.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
23, 18.
Can we do cold?
I don't know if we have. Do we have a button for cold pizza?
Yeah. I do have a 10.
Okay, don't worry about the 90.
Sure, I got $1.
Yeah, I know that.
Cool.
Somebody left out like $1.50 and change today. There you go. I'll meet you back to the burritos, and then I'm gonna go get your pizza. Here,
Okay.
you want to take over my register for a second? I gotta go grab a.
For help? Yeah, me neither.